This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
Is Israeli-Arab peace even possible? There are many, perhaps even a majority of people, not only in Israel, but throughout the Middle East and perhaps all around the world, who contend that it is not. The Jews and the Arabs will never be able to live in peace, they claim. For some, they say it is a clash of civilizations, two opposing worldviews colliding endlessly, periodically erupting in acute violence and bloodshed, deepening the hatred and the fear. This is the eternal cycle they describe and foresee. For them, there is never a chance for reconciliation and understanding. Many of those who hold this belief couple it with the contention that the Israeli-Arab conflict is a conflict of religions, fundamental beliefs regarding God, the divine will, and the intentions of the Lord regarding the land of Israel and Palestine, the people living on it, and the ultimate truth. If one feels he is in possession of an absolute truth, such as, God gave this land to us, there is little that can be said which is convincing and rational that has the power to persuade someone that there is even the slightest bit of room for a different possibility or that they may be wrong. If the Israeli-Arab conflict is in fact a conflict between Judaism and Islam, then it cannot be resolved. But it is not. Some take the position that Islam and Muslims will never accommodate Western liberal values and will always be in constant conflict with the West until the entire planet becomes part of the Dar al-Islam, the domain of Islam. Those who hold fast to this belief play up the threat of Islam to Europe, whose open-door policies on immigration have enabled large Muslim minorities to populate urban centers and inner cities, often becoming the newest lower classes of the rich European societies, and thereby giving rise to social unrest, high unemployment, and vast alienation. The underclass status of many Muslims in Europe pivots them into positions of revolt, unrest, and sometimes violence and terrorism, especially amongst the second generation who were born into that status. There are Americans who hold on to this belief, and they are often the same ones who claim that President Barack Hussein Obama is a Muslim, which is evidence, they claim, of his deeply rooted hatred of Israel and of Jews. He is not, and this is not true. On the other side of the fence, there are those who say it is the Jews that have colonized the land that may have once been theirs, but for 2,000 years was not. They came with Western support, money, and sophistication, which enabled them to maneuver the conquest of an entire land where they just recently made up only a small portion of the population. With their massive enlistment of world Jewry, mainly in the United States, they legitimized their struggle and delegitimized the indigenous Arab Palestinian people's claim to their own land, forcing them to become a stateless people. The success of the Zionist movement was so enormous that it pushed the Palestinian people into not only a stateless status, but also into a status of non-existence as a people. But Zionism was not the same as the classic colonialist enterprises of European states in Africa and Asia. There are many differences, mainly that Zionism really is the story of a people returning to their historic land. Those who call Zionism Western colonialization refuse to recognize the legitimacy of Zionism and reject the notion that Jews are a people, asserting that Judaism is solely a status of religion. Ironically, while they demand the right of self-determination for the Palestinian people, they reject the idea that Jews too have that very same right, to determine their identity and to fulfill a territorial expression of their identity in their ancient homeland.